Yo, 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 what is going on, everybody? Gabriel Santos here. Today, I want to talk about weed addiction, identities that we create, and how oftentimes it feels normal to fail and not follow through. Okay, and the whole goal with this video is to just kind of point this out if this is something either you forgot or maybe this is the first time you're hearing this kind of information. Okay, and so the gist is this, and it's going to sound counterintuitive. Um, but if we are someone who has tried to smoke less and failed, let's say I'm not gonna smoke for 30 days, and on day 7 you fail, or let's say you even want to go 24 hours, I'm gonna smoke after I do my homework, or I'm gonna smoke after I do my chores, and you still do it before then, right? And you skip the chores. You do that enough times. You do that enough times, and we'll gain what's called an identity, right? And it's identity is basically this a repeated story around a certain action or lack of action or event that we just repeat over and over, and we're convinced of it, right? And in this case, for you, that might look like no matter what I try, I can't stop. It might look like even if I go 2 weeks, I end up breaking my streak. It can look like I just can't, right? And it gets to a point where it's so normal that even when we have the best of intentions and best motivations, um, we can find ourselves reverting because in a lot of ways we're attached. And it sounds messed up because it kind of is. And I'm not saying you're messed up. I'm saying that we get attached to certain behaviors, we get attached to identities, even ones that we don't want. And they'll run the show in a lot of ways without us knowing, especially if we are deeply subconsciously tied to them. And in this case, if you're someone watching this, right, and the topic is about weed addiction, my guess is that you're probably someone who has been trying to shift this behavior and shift this identity for a long time. I want to let you know that it's possible. And it does require a lot of inner work, and it does require a lot of behavioral changes in addition to the inner work, right? The identity work, the self-belief, emotional regulation, coping skills, all that thing, all that stuff. But yeah, back to the topic at hand, right? So it's weird. It really is weird. Another identity that I struggled with was I had created this definition that smoking weed meant I was cool. And this was a definition I had created back in high school when I first started smoking, because at that stage, right back in high school, I was insecure. I didn't feel very popular. I didn't have a lot of success with girls. I felt very anxious. I had a lot of insecurities I had. And long story short, I tried weed and I got all this attention, and I felt cool, and it really plugged this hole in my psyche. Um, and so I leaned into that hard. Right? I leaned into that hard. Ironically, the first couple of times I tried weed, I didn't even really like it, but I liked the attention I got. I liked the lack of anxiety I had. And so, in that way, right, weed was really propping up this sense of identity stability that I didn't even know I was that I was going on back then. And so, fast forward, 6, 7, 8 years when I was like deep in weed dependence, weed addiction, all this, I'm trying to quit. And one of the things that I had a hard time letting go of was this definition that like keeping weed made me cool. And obviously, being cool has nothing to do with if a person uses weed or uses drugs or whatever. That has nothing to do with it. Point is that that was one example of how being cool was an identity I tied to weed, and how that can really um, create conflict with wanting to smoke less or whatever, because essentially smoking less meant like being less cool, or like being less worthy, or being less respectable. It's fucked up. I know it is. That's why I'm sharing this with you guys, in case this is something maybe will help you by hearing it. And so yeah, take a look at what some of those identities and beliefs might be for you, right? Whether it's, oh, smoking weed makes you cool. Because I've worked with people who have similar things where, they started smoking back in grade school or high school with the boys, and it was this cool thing. And, we have this association with like smoking weed and like, being carefree and like, getting into trouble, but in kind of a fun way. And, I know many of you guys understand what I'm saying there. So, yeah, I just wanted to share that for today. Hopefully this video finds you guys well. Would love to hear in the comments, some of the identities or maybe the stories that you guys have in your own belief systems about yourself, weed addiction, whatever, crossing that bridge. But anyways, guys, that's it for today. If you're interested in one-on-one coaching, go ahead and look at the links down below. Email me, DM me on Instagram. We'll get a conversation going. And if you're the right fit, I might even offer a free coaching session to you, just because if you're someone who I think would really benefit from it and value from it and respect it. But anyways, guys, that's it. I'll see y'all in the next one. Until then, peace.